Hi everybody, this is Brian David-Marshal coming to you from the Tournament Center at Magic Weekend Philadelphia. I'm here with Living End creator Travis Wu. If you've ever seen the Living End deck in Extended or even in this new modern format, Travis is the guy to blame and or thank for that deck.
I've played a few other decks too, but yeah.
I would say that's your most well-known creation though.
I'd say so. Hopefully this will be the next one though.
Okay, so we're 5 rounds into Modern here today. This deck's off to a 10-5 start with your team.
10-5 between the three of us.
Okay.
Jesse Hampton, Adam Yurchik, and myself. So I'd say that's pretty good.
So at first glance, this deck might look like your typical 12-post deck. Here's your 12 posts, 4 Cloudposts, 4 Glimmerposts, Vesuva, the Eye of Ugin hanging around and doing good stuff.
Yeah.
But that deck wasn't quite fast enough for you.
Not explosive enough. Like I just want to through the breach Emrakul on the third turn.
So this is what this deck is doing.
You can cast this on the third turn really easily, and this is pretty much game. Like they lose 6 permanents. A lot of the time they're just dead off a fetch land and a shock land or whatever. And I've done that turn 3. I don't know how many times, but like half my games have been won through that combination.
So you essentially sneak attack this into play.
Yeah.
You don't get any extra turns, but
you don't need an extra turn.
You don't need them, right? Yeah.
Like Dryad Arbor does the last 5 points or something.
So talk about how a traditional Cloudpost deck plays out. Let's say you lead off with a turn 1 Cloudpost.
Yeah.
What does your turn 2 look like normally?
Turn 2, I might have either another post or a green source and a mana accelerator. I have like 13 acceleration.
So you've got these 4 signets, these 4 overgrown battlements, and Wall of Roots.
And Green Sun Zenith gets a Dryad Arbor.
Okay.
So say on the second turn, I have a Vesuva copying Cloudpost and play a Signet. On the third turn, I might play a Forest, and I can play either Primeval Titan or Through the Breach and Emrakul. If I get the Titan, I might get like another Post and an Eye of Ugin, and then I can Ugin up Ulamog. I might be able to Emrakul that turn, but like, yeah, if somebody's beating me down, I gain a ton of life off Glimmerpost. I always have the Titan pretty much because I have these 4 Zeniths, which are insane.
Right,
yeah.
So if you have 6 mana, you often also have 7 mana.
Yeah.
And so 6 mana to cast the Primeval Titan, or 7 mana.
It's half a turn slower.
Yeah, for a virtual Primeval Titan in Green Sun Zenith.
Yeah.
So, and then, I've seen games.
Oh yeah, like Adam was in the feature match over here against Kyle Bogomez. He had 0 lands, but the full set of Overgrown Battlements.
He had all 4 Overgrown Battlements, so he's making 16 mana.
Kyle maybe had Plowlander in his hand, just staring at it, right? And he cast an Emrakul just with those 4.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no kidding.
So let's talk a little bit about, most of the decks that we've seen for the 12-post decks have been mono green, green blue. I've even seen some green white ones, but now you're red for Through the Breach.
Yeah.
But that lets you do some interesting stuff off the sideboard. We're not going to go into your full sideboard because we're still in the middle of day 1, but I think we can look at your lands here.
Yeah, the Grove of the Burnwillows
and probably get a hint as to some of the cards that might be in your sideboard against aggro decks. So what flexibility does this red give you?
Oh, it's awesome. Like, if somebody blood moons me or does something I don't like, I can just kill off this. I almost feel like the sideboard usually slows them down more than me.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. So we saw like the all-in affinity deck that's running the Blood Moons and the Mages to the Moons out of the sideboard.
Yeah.
You can just Through the Breach
and also,
Emrakul into play.
This is insane with Titan, which is one of the reasons it's so good, because you get the 4 lands right now, or in the mirror match, you play it under the turn, and you can get their Ugin before they can screw with it. Because a lot of the time, you don't necessarily have gas, you're just trying to get your Ugin off, and it gets Vesuva, because it comes into play tapped. Yeah.
So at the end of the turn, you do this, you just put a Primeval Titan into play, fetch your lands, and then untap and do degenerate broken stuff to your opponent.
Yeah, exactly. And some people have Amulet for the same thing, but I feel Amulet's inconsistent.
So quick, that's Amulet of Vigor?
Amulet of Vigor, yeah. Your stuff comes into play untapped.
Did you look at Summer Bloom at all? I know I've seen some of these decks running Summer Bloom.
I don't like Summer Bloom because I'm not actually playing that many lands. I even cut Explore. Like, Adam loved Explore. Right. I finally got him down to 1, and he's been sideboarding it out, which I'm so happy about.
So one of the contributions you said Adam did make to the deck is actually Beast Within.
Yeah.
You said this is not a very interactive deck normally.
Yeah, and this just gives you game against like everything. Everybody usually has 1 permanent you really care about, whether it's a Cloudpost or an Inkmoth Nexus, Pyromancer's Ascension, Deceiver Exarch. Like, this just gives you all sorts of game 1 hate against anything.
And you actually, if there's ever been a deck that just doesn't care about their
Oh,
opponent
yeah,
having a
all the
3/3
walls,
token. It's
all
the
the
deck
life
with all these
gain.
walls.
Yeah, and it turns out to be even okay against like the zoo decks, which
Yeah.
is insane.
You just
yeah.
like get one of your lands.
Oh yeah,
and,
they like Molten Rain your land, and you're like it's like Kitchen Finks almost.
right,
Yeah.
Right, make a 3/3 token, block your Curd Ape or whatever. So how does this deck do game one against the aggro decks?
Oh, it's really good. Like, I mean, you're potentially at a lot of life by the time you even Titan because of the Glimmerpost, and you got a lot of Glimmerpost. The aggro decks cannot interact with this at all, so if you have that early, third turn,
Right.
they're just dead. And even if they have they're off to a good start, the walls are completely insane. They just block all day. Like the aggro decks are really easy.
Right. They have to use 2 cards to get through the walls, right?
Yeah.
And so let's talk about a couple of the other targets for Through the Breach in your deck. Have you breached an Ulamog or a Terastodon into play?
Oh yeah, I have. I've like sometimes you combat step this just to blow up your own lands and just block their whole team. Or like Adam played against Living End earlier, which is so funny. Like yeah, and he won the third game. His opponent was at 18. Ended the turn Through the Breach Terastodon, attack for 18. Right? Yeah, blow up your own lands. Like Terastodon blows up all their Cloudpost, blows up their Ascension. It's similar to Beast Within off Through the Breach. Ulamog is okay with Through the Breach, but it's just something cheaper. When you go for it with Primeval Titan, you don't always have 23 mana, right?
Right.
Sometimes you only have 19, 18, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's insane the amount of mana we're
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
talking about
So-
in the short window of turns we're talking about it.
Yeah, and there's some people who are just like insane and are playing Ensnaring Bridge and stuff like that. Gabriel and Nassif, right? Isn't the feature match with Ensnaring Bridge. So I just want as many answers to hate
Right,
cards.
so Beast
yeah.
Within, Terastodon, Ulamog.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about playing. This is obviously one of the most popular decks in the room,
Yeah.
like this core of 12-post. How do you play that mirror match when every time you play a tapped post, you're helping your opponent's mana more than you're helping yours?
Well, you need to be conscious about saving the Glimmerpost sometimes, not playing it. Sometimes Vesuving something that's not a post. Try to Beast Within. If we can get a Through the Breach off before they play Titan, that's just going to be game. And one important thing is Through the Breach, end of the turn Titan. But the match is sometimes kind of flippy because when you Titan first, it's usually pretty hard to lose. One thing that's really good in the mirror match is having 4 Emrakuls. Because like I was saying, they're messing with your Ugin. You can't always get it. So I always want to have Emrakul the turn I untap after Titan.
Right, now, yeah, a lot of the early 12-post decks we saw had 1 or maybe 2 Emrakuls. I even saw people yesterday before the tournament started like, oh, I'd really like to get a second Emrakul into my deck. And I'm just like scratching my head. I'm like, don't you want to have like 4 Emrakuls when you have all that mana? And what's really insane about that is with Through the Breach, you know, it's just
the craziest
gives
part
you
of this deck is showing the show and tell of the format, right? You kill on third turn. It feels like doing Dark Depths Hexmage, except with these 2 cards, you're excited to draw them independently. They're not a 2-card combo. Because Through the Breach is great with these, and Emrakul is great with just the whole deck.
Right, great with the deck.
Yeah. Just a very synergistic deck. Like, it has so many different lines of attack and different plans to win games.
So is it deck builder? What are your thoughts about the modern format in general? Like, how excited are you to see this format go forward?
It's been a brewer's dream because it's completely untested. I mean, it's like a frontier. Incredibly fun, and I feel that the decks that are here today could be played 10 years from now, so it's just an incredible opportunity.
Is there any one card you wanted to break for this tournament that you weren't able to break?
Oh, no. I mean, as soon as I saw Through the Breach, I kind of identified this as the best deck. And then as soon as I found Through the Breach, I was like, I'm just going to work on this until the Pro Tour.
Okay, well, you have a couple minutes to start working on draft.
Yeah.
Because we're done with the modern rounds for day 1 of Pro Tour Philadelphia. Travis has got to start thinking about 40-card decks for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back with more from the Tournament Center. So for Travis Wu, this is Brian David-Marshal. See you later.